Good evening and welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation. Thank you again. It's Monday night and we're back. We've been gone for a couple of weeks. We needed a vacation. My bags and my eyes were getting deeper and deeper. So it's time to just take a little vacation. I am your host, Donna Gray Banks, and it's good to be back on Monday night. Our guest tonight is Robert Milo Vasquez, author of The Waters Fall, A Journeyer. Welcome, Robert, to Zoom In on a
Thank
Fresh
you.
Conversation.
Thank
Zoom In
you.
on a Fresh Conversation is brought to you by Islands Diamonds LLC, Lee's Press, Milton McCulloch, author of Love and Emancipation, a Dante production, and of course, the Fresh Book Festival, which will be held in the beautiful city of Daytona Beach 22, 23, 24 February in the year of 2024. We welcome you. Registration is open, so you can come in and register at any time. If you have any questions for Robert, please leave them in the chat room. And this conversation is being recorded. So thank you, Robert, for being here. Just give us a brief background about who you are.
Me, I am just an average man. It's like I've been here
Not
in
if you
Florida
sat
for
2 years writing a book. That's not average, honey. It just takes.
well, actually it's been I thought about writing a book back in 2002. I
Mm.
went through a situation and it was kind of like a whole life-changing thing. And so at the time I was dabbling with poetry, spoken word, and so I told myself I want to write a book about, poetry, but make kind of like my story and the reasons why I wrote each particular poem.
Mm-hmm.
But I never did it. So and
And so you kept all that stuff?
yeah, I do.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
I still that's on my list now. So
Yeah, I mean, once you
yeah,
get hooked with being an author, you kind of go back again and again and again. I do
so
have my good friend Janice Kearney has a anthology out. I'll send you that information. If you just have something you want to say and it's only like 2,000 words or whatever, that's the thing you should be in. It's a group of people who all get together. Well, she puts them together
okay,
and they make an anthology, right? So I'll send you that
nice.
information.
Cool.
So tell us about like where do you live and all that good stuff.
Well, I've been here in Orlando since 1995. I was born in Puerto Rico, and I was there till probably was 5 years old. My mom and my father divorced, so my mom moved us to New York City, and we moved to the Bronx. And it's like I pretty much just went to school with my siblings, doing the basic growing up thing. I have with mother and father, I have my sister and two other brothers.
Mm.
And yeah, so spend my time in the Bronx. And in 1995, my pretty much the majority of my family had already moved here to Florida. So I was the only one left in New York. So I say, you know what? I think it's time to follow the coop. So, and I ended
Right.
up
I mean,
being
there was
here.
a time when you said you lived in the Bronx and it was, families and corner stores and people all knew each other. You try to move to the boogie down Bronx now. Mm.
No, I've been then.
It's a way different place, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
And
the
it's,
sky,
yeah.
the real estate has skyrocketed, but
Yes.
I'm sure you all who were there, who was born and raised in the Bronx, know that it was a real place for family at one time, right?
It was. It
It
definitely
really
was.
was. So
hmm
tell us how and why you began to write and what was your inspiration?
I actually, right after my brother passed away in May of last year, and him and I were supposed to go to Europe, and he was supposed to meet his granddaughter, but unfortunately he didn't get to. And so after his passing, I ended up going to Europe myself. And prior to that, I had already started the book, and the reason I wrote it is because of the trip to Europe. I pretty much just it was an out of the blue thing. It wasn't anything that was thought out. It was just from one second to the next. I was speaking to a friend of mine on the phone. I told him, hey, you know what? I want to write a book. And he knows that I'm always like, just come out with crazy stuff every now and then. Because I'm actually, I'm always joking around and goofing off and stuff. And I'm like a kid at heart. And yeah, so I just decided to do it at the whim, and pretty much it was trial and error. I had no clue what I was doing at the beginning, and listening and reading other books, the same genre, and listening to a couple of other books on Audible helped me. And yeah, and I mean, I'll be open about it. I actually, it was a bit challenging in the sense of because I got as far as 12th grade, but I didn't graduate. I didn't go to college, so my education is just average. But I guess being a television enthusiast, I every time I see or hear a certain word, I look it up, and just curiosity, and so it's like that kind of helped me. And so pretty much, yes, it was just I was inspired by the whole love for history as well.
Mm-hmm.
I ever since I was in the sixth grade, my teacher, Mrs. Fuchs, we were learning about the Holocaust, and I was interested in World War II. So she actually gave me extra things to work on and stuff, just to because she knew I spoke to her, and I told her that I like history. So ever since then, I've watched TV shows that has to do with history and stuff. So pretty much I just decided to, out of the blue, write about Ireland. And
You've been to
I was
Ireland?
just, yes, I went.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I went. I spent a month in Europe. Last year, I went in October. I spent a week in Liverpool with my niece and nephew. They live there. From there, I went over to Scotland. I spent a week there, and then I flew over to Ireland. I visited the places that I wrote about, and then from there, I went for another week to England, back to England, Liverpool. So
Let's talk about the genre that you chose. You told me what it was, but I don't remember.
historical fiction,
Historical fiction, right?
right?
And so you had to do tons and tons and tons of research.
Yes. It actually, what I failed to mention was one of the shows that I watch is called Outlander. It has to do with time travel.
Oh,
So, and I'm just a big fanatic. That's why I went to Scotland. I visited the places that they used for filming
in that show, okay.
in the
Mhm,
show. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. So they call it the. Oh my God, I lost my train of thought. I'm
That's
sorry. I
okay.
just
Take your
got this.
time. Yeah. So you found that doing that particular genre would be something that you could do well, right?
Right, exactly, right. So it was funny because my mom passed away 10 years ago. So
Mm.
her birthday happens to show up every time, the day.
Oh
So
yeah.
I told myself, okay, what do I want to write about? So I actually Googled her birthday, and which is it's June 14th. So I put 6/14 and the year was 41, and it popped up
She's a
Oliver
Gemini, so
Cromwell.
she's the great person.
Yeah. Yes. And yeah, so it popped up Oliver Cromwell.
Oh yes.
And I actually, in growing up, I'd never heard of Oliver Cromwell. I had no idea who he was, and not a good person.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, so I said, you know what? I want to make his that story the basis of the book,
Mm.
and the Siege of Drogheda, which happened in 1649. So I was able to integrate the present time with that, and so I just put it was kind of like a puzzle for me in a sense. So I put it all together. And
And how long did it take you?
I started in June of last year, and
Okay.
I finished it in May of this year.
Okay. Okay.
But I
That's
stopped. There was a few
yeah.
times that I stopped,
That's
and because
standard. It's about a year, to get it
Mhm.
all together and go back and
Right,
forth and rewrite and write and
I
rewrite.
had to do, yeah, many
Yeah.
rewrites.
So, did you try to get it published by a standard publisher, or did you always know you were going to self-publish?
I knew I was going to self-publish because I just didn't feel confident enough, I guess, in a
Right.
sense, to go with a traditional agent and then to the traditional publicist. So I figured, probably the easy way would be to self-publish, I guess. And
How long is the book?
it's 344 pages, I believe, 30 chapters.
Right.
Mhm.
Because when you're doing that kind of historical genre, there's just so much meat you need to put on the bone, right? In order for people
Yes,
to understand, because you're talking about a foreign country half of the time in the book, right? So
exactly right.
you have to
Hmm.
be very specific about things. And um, when you write about a place like that, people over there will read the book and will call you out if it's something wrong in
I've
that
already been called out. Yes,
area, right?
it's
They will
already
call you
happened.
out if you're not doing the right thing.
Yeah,
So the
yeah.
research is important. So in your
Hmm.
year, when did you find was the best time for you to write? Was it mornings, evenings? You know, we have friends who write in coffee shops. I could never do that, but
No. Yeah,
yeah.
I write in the evenings actually.
Okay.
Usually like after dinner time, after like 6, 7 o'clock. I have a routine which I put my laptop on my bed. I put a bunch of pillows in front of me. And in the background, I'll have some, well, when I was writing this book, I had some Celtic music playing in the background,
Uh,
Irish music, and it just brings me there. And yeah, so that's pretty much I write in the evenings. I start around 6, 7 o'clock, and sometimes I'm there till 11 midnight, maybe sometimes. So
did you chapter it? You outlined it? You scened it? How did you do
have it's funny because I actually didn't know if there was any particular way of
that?
to
No,
write.
there's
So
no, everybody writes different. Yeah.
I actually just started out. I told myself, okay, I want to start with just the basics of who the main character is, what's involved in his life, what does he do for a living, anything that's happened significant to him, and the reasons why the stuff that was going to happen happened. And then along the way, things just started popping in my head, and I said, okay, I'm going to write about this. And it's it's funny. One of the chapters, which I spoke to a few of my friends and family members as I was writing it, and they asked me what else have you added to the book, and I said I just finished a chapter that has to do with constipation. It's like, what does that have to do with Irish history? It's like, you'll understand when you read it.
And the
So
food they
which
eat.
is but it's funny, it's odd,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, and there's actually in two of the chapters there's a backstory of one other character which he's going to be somewhat significant.
Did you have a hard time ending it at 300 pages?
I wanted to continue,
Oh,
but
you are going to continue. There's going to be a part two for sure.
yeah, actually there is. I'm already working on the second
Oh,
book.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Once you get, I'm telling you, once you get hooked, you just are hooked.
it's
And so are
wonderful.
you looking at for it to go like I don't have a TV, so I can't get with you with the Outlander thing. I'm sorry. But did it have like four, five, or six, seven, eight different did it go on like forever? So your book is gonna go from book one to book six. What do you have in your mind?
Right now in mind, I have probably to four. There
Okay.
may be more. I'm not sure
Mm-hmm.
yet, but yeah, like right now it has to do, with the Irish history. The second one, I don't know if you want to talk about that yet or
No,
when.
yeah, go. You let me
Oh,
listen. We don't have to go in order. It's right.
the second one has to do with Vikings, the Viking era, and that's going to be during the year 866. The third book I have in mind, it's going to be about the Mayan Indians, and
Oh.
then the
And
fourth book,
how the connection is there a connection there?
yeah, that's going to be a connection. Yeah,
Oh.
and also the fourth one is going to be about the transatlantic slave trade. So that's going to be, um, that's going to be fun for me in the sense not fun but just interesting and I guess
Are you still
exciting.
gonna take a person back and forth in time or
Yes,
okay.
yeah, it's going to be with the main character
Okay.
Myles, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, he's
Wow.
going to have a few adventures, and yeah, and I want to keep it fresh. I don't want people to tire out of Myles, and so I want to keep it fresh and exciting and just imaginative.
What I did was take the protagonist from the first three books. I kept her in the fourth book, but I put a
Mhm.
new character in as the main character. She's kind of like in the, you know what I mean? So you're gonna have to play back and forth, I think. I don't know.
I'm kind of, well, I'm kind of doing that. I'm introducing like a second lead character in the second book, and then probably I mean, of course that character will be in the third book as well and fourth.
So how
So
did you publish the book? Who did you publish it through?
with Amazon KDP,
Okay. How'd you
yeah,
find
Kindle
that
Direct,
experience?
it was actually pretty easy. Yeah, I thought I was gonna have difficulty, but yeah, I pretty much I have a friend of mine that had published a few books through there, and he gave me some information and told me, it was basically easy. So I went ahead and I downloaded a program, and so I'm pretty much just, and I'm pretty tech savvy, so I can get around a lot of stuff. So when it
What
comes
about the
to
editing? Did you do all that yourself? Did someone else
no,
help
the
you?
editing I paid an editor,
Okay.
and yeah, they helped me out a great lot. So yeah, because actually originally Myles, I had the main character, I had him as a darker skinned Puerto Rican. And but he told me, don't you think he would have had, problems being a darker skinned person back in that time period? And it did make sense. It was understandable. And so I didn't want to delve into that as of yet. So I had to give him a kind of like what I say, a Michael Jackson makeover.
Right.
So
Well, it's true. I
yeah,
mean, you really couldn't have him walking around Ireland and being unnoticed or not
right,
standing out. Right. Exactly. I guess I understand that. Right. Mhm.
right.
And yeah, that's interesting that you would have to
Mhm.
even think about that for the character.
And I didn't because for me, I mean, that's not even a thing in the sense that like my family, we're all mixed. I have Korean cousins and aunts and Dominican and African American, and it's just, we're like a whole big mixture. So for me, that wasn't even anything I even thought about until he brought it up. I'm like, wow, yeah, okay, well, no. So, and yeah.
When you get through, when I've finished reading the book, what do you think? What do you want me to take from it?
Um,
Besides a
just
history lesson, is there some other,
just the way when people, I guess, things that certain people will go through, they'll be happy and peppy and bursting with love, and then when they go through a certain situation, the way
right?
their character changes, their mindset, the way they think, yeah, pretty much just that in that sense, like, just a strength that someone has to endure when they go through an extreme change. And just the things that you have to do in order to adapt to those changes at times.
Tell me about this cover. Now, most people go through and they have 10 renditions of the cover. Tell me what your process was
Well, the cover is actually it's the actual picture of the waterfall that's in Ireland.
like.
It's in
Oh,
Largy County. It's called the
okay.
Secret Waterfall.
Okay.
It's in Largy County in Donegal. Um, so the picture, my nephew, he's a graphic designer. So I sent him the picture. He just started tweaking it, kind of like animating it. I told him I wanted a Celtic symbol, Irish Celtic symbol of either time or something to that sense. So that's why he used in the background of the waterfall. And then the Irish, being that there's a lot has to do with
You have a
religion.
copy of it so we could see it? You have a copy right there?
Oh yeah, I'll grab one.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's a beautiful cover, everybody. It's just like, dang, and he has somebody in the family who does that. We all have to pay for it, right? That's really, really nice that he has someone in the family that can do that kind of rendition and just hit it out of the ballpark for the first time, right? When you're writing a book, that's kind of takes that off the shelf. You can think about other things you can do as opposed to worrying about what the cover is going to look like. So you're very yeah, see, that's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was able to use the Irish cross here,
Hmm.
and then he put the title. He made the subtitle different because in the next book it's still going to be called The Waters
But it's
Fall.
clear.
Right.
Yeah.
And but the title I already have the title for the next one, which is called A Berserker.
What does that mean?
A berserker is actually it's actually a Viking that would There was a group of Vikings. They were well like trained soldiers, and they would just go crazy. And I mean, they had no sort of plan or anything. They just went. They landed where they landed, and just went with their swords and shields and attacked on the whim. So that's what a berserker was.
So they were like the Moors. They kind of went through Europe and attacked and took
More or less,
over. Is that the same kind of
more
content?
or less, yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. The berserkers. And
A
so
berserker, yeah.
the protagonist is in that also. He becomes one of those people. I mean, I'm not quite understanding.
Well, the main character, his
Okay.
name is Miles, Miles
Hmm.
Roberts.
Hmm.
And what it is, he's like this awesome, super cool, like fun teacher, 10th grade high school teacher, history teacher. And his kids are like just like his buddies. So he's got this some also a group of friends that they hang out together. They go, have a couple of drinks, they go on trips together and all this other stuff, and they're just really good friends. He's a happy-go-lucky person. And then when he goes through this situation of time traveling back to the Renaissance era, he goes through certain things that just kind of like makes him a little bit angry,
Hmm.
because he never asked for any of this, and so he becomes angry. And all the different changes. There's a couple of, I don't want to give it away, but
No, no,
it's
right.
like
You know, we want to buy the book, right?
yeah, because it'll better
Yeah,
explain it if I
yeah,
was to
yeah,
say one
yeah,
or two
yeah,
little
yeah.
things. But So then in the second book is he's just got this anger, and there are things that he had to leave behind. And so it's just the anger just keep building and keeps building. And so actually book two is going to be a little bit darker, a little bit
Mm,
stronger. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a bit more intense for him. I actually just finished I want to say about a week ago. I finished chapter one because I was on it on and off. It's already, I think, like around 26 pages so far, just on chapter one, and it is very powerful, emotionally it was powerful. So
is it going to be the
and
same cover, or are you going to think of
it's
something
actually
and
I
make it
found
a two? Or go ahead. Hmm.
it's gonna be pretty much kind of similar, because there is another waterfall, the waterfall that I'm gonna show, or in the next book, is called the Trollkirka, which is in Norway,
Mm,
and it's an actual waterfall inside of a cave, just like this one. And so that I want to use a picture of that, which actually sometime probably next year or maybe this year, I'm gonna take a trip
yeah.
to Norway
Away.
and to Denmark and to visit some of the places that I'll be writing about. So, and I want to take a picture of it because the this one I attempted to take a picture of it. The only thing,
Hmm.
you have 2 hours to because once the tide comes in and the tide comes out, you have 2 hours to be able to visit the
Oh,
cave.
right, because the water comes through the tunnel, right?
Right, it's right at
Ah.
the edge of the ocean and the North Atlantic Ocean. So when I went to visit, as soon as I was maybe 5 minutes away from getting to the cave, the tide started coming in, and
Mm.
I had messed up my knee, so I was with a cane going over boulders and rocks and slippery mud. So I said, okay, I gotta go. So I couldn't take the picture. So this one, I'm hoping for the next one. I mean, I'm hoping I'll be able to take the picture.
Well,
So
so book two, three, and four is ahead of you. Tell us a little bit more about Ireland because I've never been there. It's not on my life list, so I probably will never get there. Tell us how you were received. And this is not one of the questions, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. But tell us how you were received as not a resident when you went there, but you were with
actually,
residents, right?
yes, actually, my sister and I, she went with me, and we stood in a B&B, and it's owned by this. He used to be a policeman, and he was extremely nice, wonderful person. Wherever we went, people were very friendly.
Really?
Yeah, people excellent. They were great. even when we went to Dublin, and that's where we flew out of, and it's like even there, wonderful. They were very nice. We originally flew into Knock,
Mm.
which is the southern part of Ireland, and it was a 2 hour ride drive from where we were staying. And there at the airport and at the car place, the car rental place, they were very nice. I mean, everyone was just it was wonderful. Yeah, the people were beautiful there.
I think some people
The
fear traveling like that because they're not sure how they're going to be received, right? Did you have
I
any?
was,
Yeah,
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 I
okay.
was,
Mm-hmm,
yeah, I kind
mm-hmm,
of
mm-hmm.
was.
Like,
Yeah, but
ugh.
I guess I guess me, even I'm Puerto Rican, but I have like when I have my hair grow, it's like kind of blonde and I have the green eyes and stuff, so it'll blend it in. So
Okay,
and
okay.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, because I get mistaken for being either Irish or Italian or something and stuff. So, but yeah, it was the people were extremely nice. They were very nice, just very nice. And the place itself is just there really isn't like a city or a town type thing. It's just these
Oh,
little tiny villages, and you can drive through within 5 minutes, and then it's all country road, and there are sheep everywhere. And then yeah, so the only place that was more of a city place was Dublin. So there's you see buildings and stuff. It looks just like Manhattan, kind of sort of.
right. When I just saw Denzel Washington's new movie, and it's based in Sicily, right? And
Okay.
so, you really got a feel for the fact that people eat fresh food every day. Now they go to market every day. Go ahead, go
Wow, that's when you say fresh food, it's like, let me tell you,
ahead.
there in Ireland, and especially my sister and I in Scotland, we went to a Kentucky Fried Chicken in Glasgow. And when we got the order, we got to the hotel, and when we opened it up, it's like small pieces of chicken. I said, what happened to the chicken here? They don't use any kind of fillers or
Fillers.
antibiotics. It's all fresh food, and the food is delicious. I mean, I tried haggis, which is like a whole bunch of internal things from the sheep, and it was delicious. So, and I even had
Is it like
venison
a
for the first
hummus?
time.
Is it like a
Kind of, sort of. Yeah,
okay?
like a small little like pancake type thing, and
Okay.
and and then they had black pudding, which is really good as well. And but yeah, and venison, the venison I had it in a like in a stew. It's really good. So first time ever eating. I don't eat red meat, but I said, let me try it there. So it was
Yeah,
really good. Yeah,
when in Rome.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. That's what really when I was watching the movie, was it called? Oh my goodness, never mind. My brain. Um I thought, wow, wouldn't it be nice to have a market to go to every day, buy fresh food, fresh bread, right?
Yes. Yes.
Just fresh fish. And I
Hmm.
miss that. I miss being able to just go some. I mean, you can do it here, but it's just so far. The Equalizer. Thank you, Janice. Sorry, Denzel. I was looking at you, not the title of the movie. Yeah, and that's what and back to being from the Bronx and family and everybody kind of eating together. I really miss that about our neighborhoods now. Yeah, so.
Hmm. Yeah.
Going to
Yeah.
Ireland is, like I said, is not on my list of things to do, but thank you for sharing it with us. So
It was
tell us
beautiful.
what's next for Mr. Robert Milo Vasquez. Do you speak fluent Spanish?
Yes.
Oh,
Spanish.
nice. Okay.
And I actually took a course in Irish as well, so I speak a little bit,
Right.
not too much.
Where's the
Yeah,
men's
just
room? How do you find a taxi? The things you need to
well,
know.
I did it basically for the book because I do
Right.
speak in the book. I do speak. I write a little
Okay.
bit in Spanish, not too much,
Hmm.
mainly English, but there's also some Irish in there. And then for the second book, I'm gonna start the course pretty soon to Norwegian. I'm gonna learn a little bit of Norwegian, and in order for me to be able to translate correctly, and because I did some translating at the beginning of the book, and it just didn't seem right. And I'm glad I took the course because it did help out a lot. So, and yes, I'm hoping to speak a couple of different languages by the time I finish writing all these
Yeah,
books I
listen,
plan on
I
writing.
mean, the journey is going to be great. The Vikings and No,
it's
it's
wonderful.
yeah,
I actually, like I tell you, when I write, I put on some instrumental music. Like right now, I'm listening to a lot of drum beats and stuff that has to do with the Vikings, and it just brings me there. It's like kind of like I feel like I'm being transported as I'm writing. And so when I write, I'm visualizing like a TV show.
yeah.
So I see all these different scenes that's happening, and as it's going by, it's like, okay, I'm gonna write about this, and then this is gonna happen on the next scene, and then so listening to that music just kind of like puts me there and just kind of guides me.
When you said to yourself, okay, the end, what was that like?
I didn't want to, but
You knew
I
300 pages was enough. Nobody was, you know.
I kind of, yeah, because actually I think the last chapter was the longest chapter.
Right.
And it was because I just didn't want it to end. I fell in love with these characters, and even as I was writing about certain
But
things about
you
these
have to remember
characters.
that you're writing for us too, right? So, my friends always tell me 250, that's it. I'm not, go to the next book, right? So yeah, it is hard to put the period and say, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm
it
done.
is. But
Yeah.
when I finished it, I was like, oh, and I did cry. I cried.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I felt, accomplished. And then on the only thing after I worked with the editor, he told me the ending, he wasn't buying it. I'm like, what?
Oh.
So I literally had to rewrite it, which is true. It didn't, when I reread it, I said, yeah, what were you thinking about?
A
So,
good editor, and and I know the people who've watched this show for the last 2 years knows that, I had people in the 1970s going to the refrigerator for bottled water. Well, we didn't have it, right? So
mhm.
she was like, Donna, you can't, the average person did not have bottled water in the refrigerator. So a
Yep.
good editor will really help you through that. And you don't even think about
Mhm.
it because you're writing in a period, right? It's like, you like say the Vikings went somewhere and picked up some fried chicken. They can't do that, right?
Yeah,
So
no.
right, so a good editor will just pick that kind of stuff up. So
I was constantly looking for recipes for 19 I mean I'm sorry 17th century recipes for that the Irish would cook, and I found a few stobach. I think stobach is called. It's like a stew,
okay.
and yeah, it's a stew. And I looked for the ingredients, and I actually looked what did they use to cook with, or to
Oh,
even bake with, how they baked, and which because in one of the I kind of mentioned he makes the main character Myles, he makes oatmeal cookies. So and he asks one of the ladies, what is it, the method that they use to bake? So she tells him, you got to use a stone thingamajig and throw some hot ash over it and throw it into the fire pit. And it's like, yeah. So it's like I did. There was I mean, I was literally writing just to write like two chapters. I'm sorry, not chapters, two paragraphs. It would take me about 2, 3 hours because I'm like looking back and forth.
right.
I wanted
Yeah.
to be as factual
Authentic.
as possible. Oh,
Authentic. Right.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, go put it in the microwave. That'll work. You can't do that when you're trying to be authentic.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
is there anything else you want to share with us this evening?
Um,
I don't
share-
know. I don't know. Whatever you'd like to share.
yeah, we were talking about it. Yeah, because I was saying I think I kind of like darkened it a bit here because I
It's
actually
okay.
for
It's okay.
at my age, like I last year, all of a sudden I came out with eczema. So
Mm,
and I think it was on Thursday or Friday, I had a flare up, and it's like it was really red, but it hadn't been this bad. It looked like I got slapped a couple of times in my face. So and it was kind of burning, and then it's like it gets to the point it kind of dries up, and so when I speak or if I'm on the phone, it's snowing as I'm speaking. So, and yeah, so that's why I kind of like darkened it up. I put on my little lucky Irish hat that I bought in
right,
Italy.
right. I just wanted you to mention that because so many
Yes.
people suffer, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
all think they're suffering by themselves. And I want people to know this Saturday, we're having an event called The Bold, Bald, and Beautiful, right? That's women and men with eczema. I mean, alopecia. And
Okay.
so we just don't want to talk about it. But I have it. Fortunately,
Oh,
it does not affect my face. It affects the backs of my knees. It
mm-hmm.
affects my ankles. It affects the crevices of my arms. But
Okay.
it doesn't, and I'm not sure. And I think mine is food related. And you think yours is anxiety related or
It
what?
probably could be because I do get it every now and then, and I was given some medicated cream and I put it on, and it's gone for about 2 3 weeks, and then it'll come back out of the blue. And but I guess since it really flared up more like Saturday,
When I
and
called you
it was, yeah, you called me Friday, and I think that's what it
to
was.
come on my show.
Because
Well,
I was completely taken aback when you called me and you told me. I'm like, what? Like,
backstory for
wow.
everybody. He has his friend is a good friend of mine, and the person I was supposed to interview today caught COVID and could not come on. So his friend I hadn't talked to in months, and then he said, "I have a friend who has this book. It's really, really good." Da, 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 da. I was like, "Yeah, okay, Jen." Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then I did some background on you, right? And
Uh,
so, thank you so much for taking. I'm sorry that the invitation broke you out, but
no,
I do
listen,
want
that's
people to,
okay. I don't even
yeah.
care. I'm just happy. I'm
I do want
grateful.
people to know that they're not alone. Everybody, yeah, this
No,
space looks
yeah,
nice,
yeah.
but when I
And
take off this shirt, it might be a whole different story, right? So
it was around 7 o'clock, and I said, wait a minute, I have some antibiotic ointment and stuff. I'm gonna put it on, and because it was like it was so. I mean, listen, as you can see right here, it's
yeah.
like, yeah. So it's like, and even on
Actually,
the
you can't
sides
really
over
see it
here,
that
and
bad. Actually, you can't. Yeah, you darken the room
because
up
I
a
have
little.
dark light. Yeah.
And thank you for sharing. Everybody, really, if you
Of
need a
course, yeah.
community, if you have
Mhm.
something that you think you're standing alone, don't do that. Just tell the story because
Right,
you
right.
won't believe the people who are suffering in silence. And if you
Mhm.
open up, everybody else opens, right?
No, of
So
course, yeah, yeah.
that's a good
I'm
thing.
very open, and I mean, it's
Yeah.
like I'm just very transparent, and it's like whatever I
So
need to take it back.
what we ask our people to do is give us. Oh wait, first, how do we
Yeah.
reach you? Where's your book? We need to find all that.
Okay. Well, actually, it's by on paperback is available on Amazon, and also through Kindle, ebook. I also have it available on Google Play Books and also on ebook format. And I also just recently put it onto Apple Books, ebook format as well. I'm working on an audiobook for Google.
Are you going to do that
And
yourself?
actually it's an is I when I did the ebook through Google Play Books, they offer it, and it's an AI generated voice, which is very realistic. The only thing you have to add in you have to edit it yourself in the sense of adding pauses, and certain words are not pronounced, especially with the Irish words.
Right.
So I have to
Mm-hmm.
make them sound
Mm-hmm.
as authentic as Irish as possible. So I have to make up a word and just write it out in order for it to sound out. And yeah, so it's gonna be a minute before I finish with that.
Interesting.
But yeah, and yeah, and it's like that's where I have the platforms that I have it available. I'm working on getting it on Barnes and Noble, Nook.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to give people options of where to get the
And
book.
is there an email address we can reach you at? Not a phone number.
Yes, actually, I recently just created my website,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
I
okay.
created an email address, and my website is www.robmilovasquez.com. And the email address is thewatersfall@robmilovasquez.com.
Yeah. Thank you for that. We ask everybody for a pearl of wisdom before they leave, so we need that from
Yes, yeah, I thought about it, and it's very simple, very
you. Okay.
direct, and it's only
Mm-hmm.
3 words.
Okay.
And I got it from my mom,
Okay.
and she always told me, embrace it, praise it, and accept it.
Embrace it, praise it, and accept it.
Exactly.
Well, listen, that's short and to the point, right? And thank you so much for being here this evening.
Thank you for
And
having
thank you
me.
all for being here on this stormy Florida
Yes.
night. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Robert will be in touch. I would love for you to join us at the Fresh Book Festival. We'll make that happen for you. And
Okay.
as always, when the lights go out and the cell phone towers go down, all you have left is a flashlight and a good book. Thank you very much for being here on Zoom in on a fresh conversation. Good night, everybody. Good night, Robert.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.